Hi guys, I wanted to come on and do some more messages of inspiration. I wanted to share a couple things of kind of what I was feeling before I came on here. And so I wanted to talk about first my intention. And anytime I go to do something, any work with spirit, I have to surrender and go through a process of getting out of my own way. So anyways, I felt spirit asking me to share that today. And so the intention I was saying was I surrender my fear and allow spirit to use my voice to help others. And so I know a lot of people who follow me are also healers and in their families and in their communities. And so I felt to share that part that, you know, even though we are going deeper into trusting our intuition, that it still doesn't mean it's without challenge or without surrender. And so I knew I was supposed to address that. Also anxiety. One of the things that I said today was when I feel anxious, I honor that and allow myself to move into and through the discomfort. And so that's part of my process also when I'm working for others with spirit is, again, surrendering to let me be the voice, moving through my own anxiety and surrendering and releasing what comes through and how it comes through. Relationships kept coming heavy for me intuitively, so I know that we're probably going to address some of that with the cards that I pulled today. What I was feeling in relationships is as we're being called into a deeper union with ourselves, as we're being called into more vulnerability with ourselves, and it also is showing on the external. So friends and family members and our relationships, our interactions with others, I feel like it's being presented where we are being called deeper in ourselves, which means vulnerability coming up and also triggering trust in ourselves of what we feel and what we know and what we sense. I also kept hearing about releasing overthinking and embracing feeling. And so, you know, that's part of my process too of how I work. I can easily get inside my head of thoughts. And so my job always, even in my own spiritual work and in my own understanding of myself, is to allow myself to move out of that space and to surrender into what my feelings are, because my feelings is my connection to my intuition. My feelings are my guide into spirit. So that's where I'm able to receive information and insight and clarity. But the headspace, you know, the headspace can cause confusion, just operating in the headspace of overthought, control, fear, anxiety. You know, I keep hearing repetitive thoughts. So I always talk about the surrender process, which is me moving from my headspace into my heart space, which is where I can feel what I'm feeling. Even if I don't know why I'm feeling what I'm feeling, the first entry point to get to understand that is to allow myself to feel. And then clarity can come later. You know, clarity can come. Sometimes emotions just need to be released. You know, sometimes as empathic people, we're picking up on other people's energies. We're picking up on universal energies. We're picking up on spirit's energies. And so sometimes it's that. Sometimes it's just, I need to surrender and release emotions. I need to, you know, allow myself to feel. I keep hearing the why is not always needed, but the access of feeling is what's needed. Okay, I also was feeling like tension in my physical body. So I was feeling like heaviness on my shoulders and in my chest and neck, and in my lower back. And so I wanted to address this too, universally what we're kind of feeling come up for release in our physical bodies as well as our emotional bodies. And I wanted to say again, not about always understanding the why, but just feeling. And I kept also feeling like I'm supposed to talk about how I release those things. So one of the things that I do is sing. I also do like movement. So I'll put music on and I'll just move how I feel guided to move. And I know that there's like an energy release happening, like when my awareness comes into, okay, my chest feels heavy. Okay, I feel that. And now I'm going to, loosen my shoulders. I'm going to relax that area. So it's just being mindful of where the body's holding tension, which is energy. So music, writing are ways that I connect and ways that I release and ways that I deal with energy. Also talking to others. Sometimes we just need to vent and release and be able to be heard. Meditation, dance, and prayer. And so I just wrote a couple things of what I felt like Spirit was telling me to address of ways that I do things that maybe could help others. Okay, so I'm going to pull some cards and we're just going to see where Spirit takes us with messages. So I actually pulled out the Crystal Angels deck. My nephew was here this week and this was his favorite deck that he pulled from. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to pull from this. So I'm just going to pull a couple messages that hopefully will give you guys some inspiration or healing. Okay, so the first card I pulled is multifaceted. And it basically talks about there are many layers and dimensions to the situation or person you're asking about. And so I feel to say that, we look at things very black and white. And I feel like Spirit's reminding us that just like we ourselves are not good or bad, it's not black and white, that neither are the others that we're dealing with. And I feel to say, remember, I read the cards intuitively, I feel to say expansion here. The crystal that is on this card is titanium rainbow quartz, but it keeps making me feel expansion. And I'm really drawn to the red in the card, which red I connect to the root chakra, which is safety and security. It's at the base of your spine. The next card I pulled is Easy Does It. Your health, happiness, and abundance require a gentle approach to life and work. And of course, this makes me think of throat chakra and speaking up, speaking our truth. But also I feel like it's connected to just allowing. The stone is sapphire. And again, when you read intuitively, you just look at the card. There's no right or wrong. So even as I show these cards, you can pick up intuitively what the card's saying to you because it is individual. That's why I'm using the cards when I do these general readings because, Spirit's helping me intuitively, like for who's going to watch it, what I need to address. But the cards are a good way for people to look at and then also with their intuition, get their own message of what Spirit's trying to say. And the next card is Heightened Intuition. Be extra aware of your inner knowingness as it's trustworthy. This card, I'm drawn to that her crown chakra is lit up. Her crown chakra is right here. It's where information comes in. You could be extra sensitive at this time. Remember, it's not only individually, but collectively, energetically, what we're kind of moving through right now. The energy has been pretty consistent for me lately. It hasn't been too yo-yo-like, but And when I say yo-yo, it's like where you can feel high 1 minute and low the next. I haven't been feeling that too much, but more almost like in a waiting cycle. I just feel like we're kind of feeling like paused. I don't know why, but that's what I feel. And I pulled one more from this deck, which is, I think I said this one's Moonstone. Hopefully you guys saw that. Clear Quartz, which is one of my favorites. Let yourself feel all your emotions. So that's good validation for what the messages Spirit was giving me before I got on here, which is allowing ourselves to feel. That's really our connection to our intuition. Your entire rainbow spectrum of feelings is sending you important messages and guidance. And all of a sudden I felt the anxiety again. So remember, how Spirit communicates with us is through our energy and our body. Basically nothing's off limits. So yes, our intuition, so our thoughts is one part of it. And I want to say multifaceted again, right? The way we receive information is multifaceted from Spirit. It doesn't just come in one way. It's our emotions tied to thought, feelings. So I want to say, you know, what you're receiving intuitively, you can trust. And I feel like maybe the challenge is trusting self with what you're receiving. So I'll pull a couple more cards to get more info about that, but that's what I'm feeling intuitively. I keep hearing it's safe to trust myself. Okay, so that's also connects me back to the root chakra again. And interesting, I didn't think I was going to bring up that chakra today. I actually was more triggered, more tuned into the throat and solar plexus, which is willpower and self-esteem. So someone else might need to hear that message today. Now I'm going to pull from the Spirit Messages, the John Holland deck. Since I did the last video, I brought all my cards over here so that I can have options. Okay, the first card is Stand Your Ground. Standing your ground is an empowering, confidence-building action to take from time to time. Now is the moment when you need to stand your ground. You know you can do it, and you know that by doing so, you will be the victor. This makes me feel very earth element, okay, because it's grounded. But I also am drawn to that there's new growth here. There's new growth happening. Again, I keep wanting to say expansion. So, and there's also this little tiny nut on the card. I'm drawn to say something about that. It's like an acorn. Okay, so here's that card. Hopefully the reflection's okay. Again, take intuitively what the card is. I also feel like the person's really tuning into themselves. You know, his eyes are closed and he's really having awareness of his extrasensory perceptions as opposed to what he sees externally. Intuitive nudges. Okay, intuition's coming up a lot. Intuition is the language of the soul. We are all born aware with a profound sense of inner knowing. Intuition is one of the greatest gifts we possess, which keeps us connected to our higher selves, the universe, and to our divine spirit. This card is like the third eye. Might be significant to someone that it's blue. So again, his eyes are closed and he's seeing. So, you know, I feel like this reading is kind of taking the element of trusting your intuition and perceiving your extrasensories. So what you're seeing in your mind. And I want to say that's been part of my, a huge part of my healing work, for myself, is learning to trust what I see, because that's how spirit teaches me on what I need to look at in my own self or in my own life, and then also what I need to release, or I keep feeling like guilt, like when we carry guilt that we need to release, when we carry burdens of loss, when we carry things that through the healing process, when we're sitting, with eyes closed, perceiving extrasensory, what do I see? This is how spirit gives us the information. I also feel to say, so what's coming in my mind is my grief work, for a good consistent period of time after my uncle passed, was me sitting and seeing visuals pop up of him. And so I feel like I'm supposed to address that, about how spirit gives us those visions of what we need to grieve, and how to have expansion into seeing them in a new light. And I feel like that's a message that's really important for grief work when we've lost someone, whether it's, they've transitioned to the other side, or whether it's that we've just lost them in the physical world. There's grief work to be done, and the grief work is connected to the visions that spirit will give you in your perception of feelings and seeing. Okay. Okay. And the next card is just ask. There are many here in spirit that can assist you at this time. Again, I feel like someone's going through grief work. I personally am always going through cycles of grief work, because it's my main field of study, to understand and perceive and help others through. We are made up of the divine source, your loved ones, friends, and guides. This is when you're connecting to those in spirit, and how to discern who's who. We're your spiritual team, and all you have to do is ask for our help and guidance. Again, I feel like that's why I was supposed to bring up intention today. So when I'm in service to others, my intention, it's just a flow. It's not like a ritual of what I say or do. It's more of a knowing, deep within myself of, sometimes it will look like, I say to myself, spirit, please allow me to help this person today. Help me to say everything that you need me to say. I just go through this kind of surrendering process of basically, let me get out of the way and be of service to this person. And so I feel like if you're doing this kind of work, or if it's just you're doing the work for you, because that's the first step, is doing the work for you and asking spirit for help. And that's the first intention. Through my healing work of myself and my grief work, I started to work with spirit and ask them to help me. I would ask the people in spirit to help me see what I need to see. All right, I feel to pull one more from this deck. Okay, new beginnings. Everything in life is constantly vibrating and moving, and therefore continuously changing and evolving. Be aware that a new beginning is on the horizon. Have courage and faith, because right now life is trying to nudge you forward and move you in a new direction. It makes me think of this card again, and I was reading it and seeing this card in my head when I said the new growth, right? So this is the new beginnings. And this has been a theme, I feel like, in cycles with myself and with others, how we hold on to control of trying to control the path and control our lives, as opposed to allowing, and there's a flow. And that's a lot of what spirit, reminds me of often is that, you know, my job is to surrender, allow, and flow, and release. Okay, and I feel free to also mention the card that's on the bottom of the deck, which is listen. You have to be willing to listen if you want to really understand someone. Now is not the time to be offering advice, but to be a compassionate listener. To listen fully and intently means to pay attention, not to just what's being said, but to what lies beneath the surface. Okay, this card again, intuition. In any conversation with someone, right, we're listening to what they're saying, but this card's asking us to listen deeper, which is emotion. Okay, not to what we see, not to what we hear the words that are saying. Well, yes, we're listening to that, but also this is a deeper listening. And again, eyes are closed. A lot about intuition today. Butterfly and clock is on here. That might be significant for someone. Okay. Let me just take a breath and see if anything else, Spirit's trying to tell me anything else to address. I keep hearing trust yourself, trust yourself. I'm going to pull a couple tarot cards too. Okay, I hear something about generosity. I don't know why I'm hearing that. I also hear examples of the finite versus the infinite. Okay. I also hear the words relative therapy. Okay. And I'm seeing a scene kind of play out in my mind. There's a intuitive healer I know who is also a therapist, and I'm perceiving about him. But I'm also being brought to the awareness of it's traditional and non-traditional therapies. Okay, he mixes the two. So for whatever reason, I'm feeling to say that. Okay, and I pulled the Justice card in reverse, and I feel that there's some kind of message coming about imbalance. And I feel like it could be connected to being taken advantage of or feeling taken advantage of. This might be what's connected to the message that was coming through already, which is trusting your intuition and new beginnings, because I feel like there's relationships or things that are coming up for release also. There's imbalance. But I also feel like it's connected to, when I see the sword, I feel like I always think cutting through truth, you know, cutting through something. And so speaking, okay? So maybe there's been an argument with someone. I also feel it could be something like that. Energy is high. Emotions are running high. So I feel, again, being drawn back to that message of listening, but also intuitively listening. We can't make other people grow, right? We can't make other people go to a deeper layer of awareness. They have to be ready to choose that. They have to be ready to speak that. So I just feel in this case that I'm being drawn into right now is just about pulling back energetically. Because I feel like your words are being misinterpreted, or your intentions being misinterpreted. So for whoever this message is for, I just feel like if there's an argument, it feels like a family member to me, that Spirit's just saying pull back energetically. Because words are being misconstrued. Energy is being misconstrued. There's something about that. Okay, and I'm also, the World card came up next, and that makes me think about vulnerability again. Right? We have to choose if we're ready vulnerable, and the other person has to choose when and how they're going to be vulnerable. And so that's what takes us to deeper levels and deeper layers within our relationships with others as we go to that place within ourselves, right? As we allow ourselves to be vulnerable. Now, listen, I can be super vulnerable with people, but that doesn't always mean that they're going to be on that same level that I am with vulnerability. That's okay. Okay. That's about being able to have boundaries and accept that someone else is in that same place of vulnerability. But that not stopping you from you being vulnerable, right? It shouldn't inhibit you from growth or new beginnings because of where they're at. Okay. Even if I keep feeling like it's a partner. You still move past and move through expansion within yourself, regardless of what the external environment looks like, right? I keep hearing it's not an excuse. So someone else's growth or ability to be vulnerable is not an excuse for you to not continue to evolving. Okay. I pulled a page of wands, and again, I read intuitively. I feel like this is a spiritual lesson, spiritual energy, but the page is young to me. Okay. So it could be someone who's, emotionally immature. I don't know why I want to say that. I'm also drawn to the lizard on this guy's shirt. I don't know why. So maybe you might want to look up the meaning of the lizard, spiritual meaning of lizard. But it makes me think in my head as I say that there's a connection to the snake. The snake also, and new beginnings, transformation. Okay. I see a sense of renewal, but I feel a resistance to it. Okay, so again, another vulnerability card. But I feel like there's resistance within self. And I feel like it's emotional energy. So again, that could be why this reading is going in the direction of a lot of intuition, trusting self, release, surrender. I was feeling that energy a lot before I started to do this video. Like, I need to talk about how I go into my surrender process of service, right? Because I have to get my own self out of the way in order to do that. And I feel like that's what Spirit's trying to address for someone else here. It's all to do with the emotions. It's all to do with the emotion body, trusting what you feel, and how Spirit's working with your intuition through what you see and through what you feel. So it's merging the two aspects. And this could be new for you, right? That could also be the new beginnings card. This could be new for someone, being able to perceive extrasensory, seeing something in their mind and learning how to trust that and going to a deeper layer of intuition with themselves. Okay, the next two cards, it's the Wheel of Fortune in reverse, and then the Four of Swords upright. Together, they may think of a lot going on and a time of rest. And so what I kept hearing was inaction. Okay, and I also feel to say that's okay right now, because I feel like what Spirit's calling whoever I'm addressing right now, calling us to rest. Spirit's calling us to rest. So this Four of Swords is like thoughts, okay, but putting it to rest. Okay, and it could be, it's interesting because then I just thought, put your sword down. So this could be about a disagreement or argument also. It's multifaceted, okay? Like the first card I pulled, the messages are multifaceted too. This is a time of rest and meditation for self, but this is also laying your sword down. So in an argument, it's laying your sword down. So again, surrender. I feel like it's like Spirit always tells me, and I've written and addressed it a few times, but we might lose the battle, but we won't win the war, which is, is really within ourselves. We think that it's external. We think that, we're here to, change others. But in my healing journey, I've learned that it's not about changing others. It's about revealing myself, about healing myself, about trusting myself, about empowering myself. And as you do that, then you bring in experiences that one of the readers I watched said today, as you awaken, it gets harder. And, I laughed because I was like, yes, you know, years ago when I didn't perceive the way that I perceive now, you don't look at the world the same. And so even though you have deeper trust, so when challenges come, what the beautiful part is that you trust deeper, and your awareness, you know that you're always being helped. So that's the beauty of it, but it's not without challenge. So awareness and awakening and the spiritual journey, all the things that people talk about, it's a dive into self. And inside the self is the duality, which is the dark and the light. I see the moon and the sun, right? The internal part of feelings and navigating through that in the dark. And so I just feel like to be aware of this resting time, and that sometimes the conflict on the outside actually represents the conflict that's on the inside. And that meditation and inner work can often lead to resolution of an external argument. It has for me. I love how Spirit did that. I didn't even think they were going there, but yes. I've learned through my spiritual journey that when conflict presents itself on the outside, it's an entry point for me to go inward to find resolution. The resolution is not external first, and then we feel better. That's what we think before our awareness shifts and our awakening happens. But once you have awareness that it's all comes back to the inner self, the resolution comes from within first. And then you get to choose and pick your battles on the external. And that's what I feel like is connected to laying the sword down. As your awareness grows, it's not about you losing the battle, because ultimately you're winning the war, which is the spiritual journey. Ultimately that yourself is changing, that you're more empowered, that you're more encouraged, that you're expanding, as opposed to winning an argument. Like, it's dumb in reality. Okay, so I hope that helps somebody today. I didn't know that's where Spirit was taking us. Let's see if there's any more messages. I might just be addressing a few different scenarios here. No, these cards don't even have on it what I'm thinking in my brain, but this is what happens because I don't usually use cards. So Spirit's just giving me things in my mind to say as well. So I said something a minute ago about going through the darkness, and then what I heard was the fruitful darkness. And that's a song by Trevor Hall that I listened to. And it's basically how the darkness is fruitful, right? There's so much fruitful understanding, comprehension in the darkness. And I feel like I keep feeling drawn back to the person who's doing grief work. There's so much there to perceive and to see and to feel and to expand upon. And so I feel to mention that. Two of the cards I pulled are Wands, King of Wands and Ace of Wands. And so again, I feel like this is a really heightened spiritual lesson. I'm also drawn to the fact that there's a lion in the card, which is about strength for me. My throat's starting to go out, so I feel emotion coming up. Again, I feel like this is connected to grief work, and it could be about an ending of a relationship, and it could be for one person, and for another person, I feel like this is about someone transitioning. I also feel connected to thoughts and ideas coming in when I see the clouds. It represents ideas. But it was in reverse. And so I still want to address someone who's not trusting their ideas, that are actually coming. See, this is like Spirit's hand. Spirit, source, God, universe, whatever you connect to. Bringing an idea in and a spiritual understanding in. And the Queen of Swords in reverse. I keep feeling connected to the angelic realm, I keep hearing to believe or to not believe. That is the question. To me, I feel breaking new ground on maybe what someone subscribes or believes in. And this is all about not being fearful of speaking that also. You know, this makes me feel like it's okay for you to speak what your beliefs or understanding is at this moment. I keep feeling like self-doubt or over criticizing self, being overcritical of self. Again, I read intuitive. You guys might look at this card and see something different. Trust that, because that's your intuition telling you what you need to see in the card. Okay. Interesting. I've never been drawn to the bracelet around her, but it makes me think of one of those prayer beads. And so, right, it doesn't matter. I feel like the avenue, there are many paths that lead to a destination. And what I feel like is each journey looks different. And so it's not my job to tell someone else that their beliefs are wrong, okay, or their understanding is inconsistent. Okay. It's on them, right? It's on them to understand and perceive what they understand and perceive. And so I keep feeling like it's like you trusting your own journey and what you're perceiving and what your beliefs are. Again, I feel a heavy sense of ideas here coming in. Maybe ideas of, I want to go back to relationships again, maybe ideas of who someone is for you, you know, relationship wise, like all of a sudden I was just brought to a thought of ghosts. And right, whether we believe in ghosts or not, right? So I could be needing to address this for some reason. Okay, I don't subscribe to ghosts. Okay, it's not in my journey. I haven't experienced what a human perception of a ghost would be. Okay, but somebody else may have, and many people have, right? I have clients who have had experiences. It's not part of my awareness. I relate to spirit in a vibration, in a feeling, in a sensory kind of aspect. They're not external from me, but moving through me. And so I just say, trust what you feel, you know, and also I haven't seen the movie, but people I probably have seen it, but people have said to me, you know, you need to watch Ghosts with Whoopi Goldberg, which I haven't, but it made me think of something that I know about the movie, which is like, she's a trans medium. So the spirits come through her and I guess speak a different way. I could be making that up. I could be wrong. I don't know, but that's what I'm thinking. And I keep saying, like, it's not always like that. You know, if a person who's receiving spirit needs to experience like that, then that's how it can happen. If a channeler, you know, if someone like me is open to that aspect of spirit working to them, but it's not the way that, you know, it's not scary. I just feel like I'm supposed to address someone's fear about what spirit is, and it's not scary. It's not a scary experience. It's very uplifting. It's a very energetic experience. A lot of times people leave and say, I feel so much higher. I feel so much lighter. That's what it is. It's vibrationally shifting to a higher frequency, which is where spirit operates. That's how I perceive them. That's how I work with them. We're in a denser matter in the physical world. We're dense matter. So spirit is not in body. So it's high energy and it's faster moving, higher frequencies. So I guess I'm supposed to address that. Okay, I felt to stop there. I hope that was helpful for someone. And if you have any questions, you know how to reach me. And I'm going to try to be more consistent with doing this. So love you guys. Bye.